Wife.
Do you know where the hell we are and how the hell we got here?
Well, we are running a little bit late.
A lot late.
Mm-hmm. So our podcast was supposed to release, technically it's Saturday now.
It's Saturday.
So it was supposed to release yesterday, sort of. Yeah. And we apologize. Yes. But we are getting this out. This will be, we just got done with Ezekiel chapter 34.
Mm-hmm. Well, we should say the reason that we are late is because the presidential debate was Thursday night, and rather than record, we spent time watching that.
Spoiler alert, Trump is still an asshole. Yeah. So there's that.
And Biden is still old.
Yeah, that too. And anyway, so last time we read Ezekiel chapter 34.
Sure as fuck did.
And in that chapter, God is telling his shepherds to kind of fuck off.
Sure.
He's like, dudes, you suck, and you're telling the wrong message to these people, and I'm taking over, and y'all are fucked. I'm going to starve you and then probably kill you.
And let the animals eat you, and I'm holding you responsible for all that these fuckers did wrong because you led them to it.
Right. And you know, there's punishment and then there's punishment. Mm-hmm. And this is like the torture before the death type thing, which God seems to like to do.
The gleeful masochism.
It seems a bit much. Yeah. You know, I don't approve of his ways of managing his people.
I'm wife, and I don't approve this message.
No. Yeah, it's not good. So, anyway, that was the gist of Ezekiel chapter 34.
Yes.
Which means that today we're getting into
Ezekiel chapter 35.
All right. And before we get into this, I do have one little side note that I want to mention because I can't let this pass without saying something about it. Okay. And that is that the asshole known as Ryan, what the hell is his name? Ryan
Seacrest?
No, he's the superintendent down in Oklahoma in Oklahoma City schools or whatever, or Oklahoma schools.
Fuck that dude.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't. You know what? I think it's Ryan Walters, but I don't even give a fuck about his name. He doesn't deserve to have his name mentioned. Mm-hmm. But at a recent meeting, they just declared that every teacher in the state of Oklahoma is going to be required to read and teach the Bible in school.
Yeah, because they want it to reflect the importance of how Christianity helped found our nation.
Yeah.
Which, like, brute dudes.
This is just, it's just, these people are seeking the limelight, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, this shit really gets attention. I'm going to throw my name in the ring. And
even if I lose, it doesn't matter.
Even if I lose, it doesn't matter because they're like, the Christians will love this. You know, the right-wing Christians, the crazed Christians,
the MAGA Christians
that are all for making our fucking country a theocracy.
Yeah.
You know, they feed on this and they're like, ooh, what can I do to up the ante here?
Right.
And it just pisses me off.
And
like, this is going to go nowhere. It's not even a fucking law.
It does go somewhere because it normalizes
you're right.
this situation so that by the 10th time it happens, we no longer give a shit because we're like,
numb.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
And then one squeaks through and we're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That's how this happens.
No, I'm well aware of what is happening and why it's happening. It's just, I had to say something because we can't let these things just keep passing without doing and saying something about them. So let that fucker know what you think of him and let Oklahoma tell Oklahoma no fucking way.
No fucking way.
We have to say something. Yep. And anyway, I'm off my high horse here. We're going to get on with the Bible.
Let's get on with the Bible.
So we were in 34, and now we are getting into... Ezekiel
35.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. All right, we are hopping into Ezekiel chapter 35, or as I like to call it, Ezekiel.
You took over my changing it to Ezekiel.
Sure as fuck did.
Yeah.
Yep.
What the hell's up with that?
Because I didn't appreciate it, so I took it away from you. This is my game. We play by my rules.
Oh, okay.
And you're always wrong.
Okay, yeah. There is that.
All right. The word of the Lord came to me.
Ezekiel, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Son of man.
You mere human.
You fucking worm. Set your face against Mount Seir. Prophesy against it and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says.
Mount Seir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm against you, Mount Seir.
Okay.
And I'll stretch out my hand against you and make you a desolate waste, okay, I'm going to interrupt him for a second, and I'm going to come over here to talk about Mount Seir for a minute.
I was about to ask because I have no idea what the fuck we're talking about here.
I don't know exactly where it is. I was going to maybe cover that more in like a Q&A kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there was a note that said Ezekiel's oracle against Edom, so I guess it's Edom.
Yep.
Is a brief condemnation of Israel's neighbor for taking advantage of Israel's broken condition.
Okay.
The motivation for locating a second, or not for locating, the motivation for doing this more vehement condemnation than the one he already did.
Right.
It's like really weirdly placed.
Sure.
Say the people.
Well, and like when he condemned them before, we were talking about the Edomites and, and Edom. We were talking specifically. We didn't say Mount Seir.
Right.
So that's a weird way to reference it.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure why we did that, but okay.
Yeah. It's very weird.
I mean, sometimes they do reference things geographically, which, okay. I mean, I can be down with that, I guess.
Right.
But why do we have the different ways of referencing it in the same book?
Yeah.
It does that specifically doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It really doesn't, because a lot of times you can tell the authorship of particular sections by how the
terms they use and whatever,
how they refer to something. Like if they say, like 50 years or a lifetime.
Right.
Like that will
Which doesn't lend to the idea that Ezekiel wrote this entire book. Right. Right. I mean, and we don't specifically know. I think you dug into this a little bit before we started this, but most people say that, generally, probably Ezekiel wrote this sort of, but other people might have also done stuff.
There was a lot of editing and redacting later.
Yeah.
So he may have written the original bits.
But it's been chopped to bits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you can tell, I think, by the way this is phrased right here.
No, I agree.
All right. So God is continuing to speak according to Ezekiel, who goes on to say, I, God, will turn your towns into ruins, and you'll be desolate. Then you'll know that I'm the Lord.
Oh, yeah. That destruction shit always tells me that somebody's the Lord.
Never not be afraid.
Yep.
Never not be afraid. Because you harbored an ancient hostility, like the one we discussed several chapters ago.
Yeah.
And delivered the Israelites over to the sword at the time of their calamity. The time their punishment reached its climax.
Hold on just a fucking second. The Edomites delivered the Israelites over to their calamity, right? That's what they just said.
Over to the sword.
Right, to the sword.
At the time of their calamity.
At the time of their calamity, okay. Mm-hmm. But this is God's sword. This is the sword of the Lord. This is God bringing this destruction on Israel for their own misconduct, right? Yes. So why does he give a fuck if somebody's helping the sword of the Lord?
I don't know.
This is the thing he is doing. This is the action he has deemed necessary. Mm-hmm. So why is it specifically because he didn't reach out to the Edomites and say, "Hey, I need your help"?
Right.
Is that what this is about?
I don't know, because he didn't talk about the Canaanites like this.
Right. Well, I mean, he doesn't. I mean, Babylon doesn't even worship, Yahweh as a god, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody in Babylon claims that they heard from God and that's why they're doing this.
Right.
I've certainly not heard that in the Bible, and I wouldn't believe it even if they said it. But that's not what's happening here. He's claiming that he made these people do this thing.
And then got mad at them for doing it.
Right, but only because this wasn't specifically the people that he was using as his sword, right? It's just this random other group of people that merely maybe capitulated a little bit to this massive force that was coming at them to help them destroy the Israelites, so that maybe they didn't get destroyed quite as much.
Right.
Right? So whatever. Yeah. I don't really blame them that much.
No.
If you see imminent doom on the horizon, you do what you can to not die, right?
Yeah.
So okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna end rant. That pissed me off.
God's a dick. Fuck Yahweh.
Yeah. I mean, if we should be mad at anybody for sending the sword towards the Israelites, it's gonna be God.
Yeah.
He's the one that said he did it.
Yeah. Multiple times.
Yeah.
So because you harbored an ancient hostility and delivered the Israelites over to the sword at the time of their calamity, the time their punishment reached its climax, therefore, as surely as I live, which,
again,
do you though?
Right, yeah.
Declares the sovereign Lord. I will give you over to bloodshed, and it'll pursue you. Because,
Yeah.
Pain.
Yep.
Pain.
We love that bloodshed in the Bible.
Since you did not hate bloodshed, bloodshed will pursue you. Hold on. Like, I don't hate mountain lions. Does that mean mountain lions are going to come after me and pursue me?
No.
Yeah, that's just a poorly phrased sentence. I don't care for it. Because this equals that.
Yeah.
No, that's not correct, sir.
Right.
You did that wrong.
Well, and who exactly is it that doesn't hate, that likes bloodshed or whatever in Edom, right? Well, or Seir or whatever.
He may be also referring to some of their idolatry and
whatever.
But I'm saying what an apologist might say, like, sure. okay. You probably are saying that they, did child sacrifices or whatever.
But I just like to point out that we're taught generally in society not to speak in generalizations, not to speak in, like putting everybody in the same basket, right? Mm-hmm. You can't speak to an entire culture and expect it to hold true for everybody, right? So he's saying we're going to destroy you guys, but who exactly is it their leadership? Is it their everybody on the ground? Everybody there was for this? Like, who is it exactly that we're destroying? And why are we destroying? I think these things matter. Right. Right. If we're going to destroy people and we're going to fucking kill them because you're God and you're fucking petty, what is your reason? I need to know your reason, and I need to know.
Is this a genocide, or like, are you going to have a remnant over there, or
are you calling out like 5 people, or like what's going on?
The whole town.
Yeah.
What about the babies, wives, and animals? Because you tend to not like those guys.
Yeah, and when you get on a killing spree, you tend to kill everything.
Right.
Sort of. You kill everything, but then you come back later and say, well, but I'm going to let some of them go. So you don't kill everything, but you like to say
you claim
you kill everything.
Yeah.
So
you sure claim that stake.
God is a little confused often, I feel, and very much overreactive to situations that arise. Mm-hmm. And that's my assessment here. Sorry, I interrupted and then I just went off. So I apologize.
You are in a mood, sir.
I mean, yeah.
But God brings it out the best of you. God, according to Ezekiel, will make Mount Seir a desolate waste and cut off from it all who come and go.
Okay.
I will fill your mountains with the slain. Those killed by the sword will fall on your hills.
Is that like
in your valleys and all your ravines?
So is the mountain kind of like a Twinkie filled with bodies?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I just that was the imagery that was going through my head. I had to say it, so
that's a big Twinkie.
That's it,
Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
Tell them about the Twinkie.
Right.
Of course, and then there's Zombie Land where
I love the snowballs Twinkie in there. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. God, according to Ezekiel, will make you fucking desolate forever.
Forever.
Ever. Your towns will not be inhabited.
Okay.
Then you'll know
that he is a dick.
That I'm the Lord. How are you going to know it if you're dead?
I was wrong. I didn't get that one right, apparently.
I don't understand.
I think I might be right, though.
You're righter than this book.
Right.
Because how are they going to know that you're the Lord if they are not alive to know the thing?
Right. I've questioned that multiple times. Like, I don't get it.
It deserves repeating every time.
Yeah.
All right. Because you have said, these 2 nations and countries will be ours, and we will take possession of them, even though the Lord was there. Therefore, as surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, I will treat you in accordance with the anger and jealousy you showed in your hatred of them, and I'll make myself known among them when I judge you.
Okay.
Then you will know that I, the Lord, have heard all the contemptible things you said against the mountains of Israel. Okay, hold on. I got a note here.
Okay.
So where it said, because you said, Edom, that these 2 nations and countries will be ours and we're going to take possession of them.
Assuming they're talking about Israel and
Judah. Yeah. So that's what this suggests, that the Edomites plan to take possession of Israel and Judah following the Israelites exiled to Babylon.
Well, sure. I mean, if the land's empty, why wouldn't you move in, right?
Especially because these guys were like, what, frenemy, cousin kind of things?
Yeah.
So,
and besides, apparently, like, according to this chapter, they probably made some sort of a deal with the Babylonians, right?
Right.
And so they're friendlier towards the Babylonians.
Sure.
The Israelites in Judah were rebelling against the Babylonians,
right?
Or the whatever they were. The who was the other tribe that was? Shit, I can't remember now.
Those astronomer guys.
Yeah, the astronomer guys. I can't remember the name right off the top.
Starts with a C.
Yeah. It's like right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't come up with it.
We'll never see that word again.
No, I know, right? But. So they made them a pact, and then why wouldn't you move in, right? I don't understand the problem here. They avoided getting slaughtered by Babylon.
Right.
And they're reaping the benefits, that's all.
This is like two best friends, right? And they're fighting over a boy, right? And then one of them is like, okay, you can date him, and then is like, just kidding, never date him. And then but then goes ahead and dates him herself.
Yeah.
And then, so the other one is like, oh, I guess he wants her, right? And even though he was going to be with me because she said, but then she, took it back. And so they're together now. And so she goes and dates the other girl's brother. And then the girl is like, how dare, never, I'll kill you forever, and blood on mountains and stuff. Like, right, that's what this feels like, though, right? Like,
yeah.
Three-way fucking high school drama.
Oh, yeah. No, if there's anything that is true, it's that God is very petty.
Yeah.
And I don't begrudge the Edomites for seeing the wind that's blowing and making a decision to try to not die, right? The Israelites, the Judah, they died in mass and also got exiled from their land. Mm-hmm. And God claims that he was the one that did this, but apparently Edom decided that it was better to talk to Babylon, so less of them died.
Right.
It sounds like they made a good deal there to me.
Yeah, but
who am I to judge?
I guess their God was better, huh?
I don't know. Well, I mean, God says he's going to destroy the Edomites, so whatever. I don't know if that's actually true or not.
Yeah,
but,
I don't either. That's a Q&A type of thing. I have no idea.
I kind of feel like all the people that lived out in that area are just like one kind of sort of the same people.
Right.
With probably even worshipped similarly at a individual level.
Right.
They might have had different types of priests in those areas, but like they all kind of had...
The altar in each town was painted a different color or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. And so I don't feel like they really... They felt like that was probably, they were entitled to that area just as much as the Israelites, maybe.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. The whole thing is stupid.
Yeah.
You said, continued God, according to Ezekiel,
okay,
they have been laid waste and have been given over to us to devour. You boasted against me and spoke against me without restraint, and I heard it. That's what he's really mad about.
Well, right, because he doesn't like it when that happens.
Yeah. And you talking shit over there. I'm going to kill you hard.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is what the sovereign Lord says.
Okay.
While the whole earth rejoices, I'll make you desolate.
While the whole earth rejoices, huh?
Just that one section of earth, but yes, the whole earth.
You ever been privy to the whole earth rejoicing?
No, because I'm aware that it's a globe, not a flat disc.
right. Yeah.
So no. Turtles all the way down.
I'm just imagining the American Native Indians.
Native Americans.
Sorry, my bad. Were just all of a sudden broke out in joy and jubilation because the Edomite side. Yeah, I'm like, yay!
Entirely different continent, have no idea what's happening, but just joy fell upon them.
Yeah.
Whoa, did you feel that happy wave last night? I did. What do you think that was about? I don't know, probably some fucking berries or shit. Whatever.
Right.
Because you rejoiced when the inheritance of Israel became desolate, that's how I'm going to treat you.
Okay.
You will be desolate. Desolation, you're going to have it. Because desolate means desolation. And I'm going to give you desolation for how desolate you were desolating them.
Yeah. I feel like somebody, like the New Testament must have come about because somebody was reading through this Old Testament and being like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
This fucker is like an asshole.
Yeah.
We need to change the messaging here.
Yeah. We can't
they probably even said Jesus Christ. They're like, hey, we should use that.
Right? and then they were like, you know what? We can't even use the same God. We've got to like paint a whole new picture.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, we got to humanize him a little bit. And so that's like why there's that whole Trinity thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why the Holy Ghost. Like, I don't know why there had to be three.
I mean,
it could have been a duality.
That's not like Catholicism, really. Like, they were mainly Catholic.
That's not true.
Well, but that's what most people associate it with.
That's what they associate it with. But like Southern Baptists, they're all into the Trinity. Okay. My parents are Southern Baptist, and they will tell you about the Holy Trinity.
Really?
It's not just
never
Catholics.
Heard that before.
No.
Huh. Okay.
They all are about it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, because actually, I was going to church with them a little bit, and somebody was trying to explain it to me, and they used the ice cube principle, which is that water can be in multiple forms at once, but it's like all the same, like ice versus water versus vapor.
Yeah, I heard you tried to tell me that one time.
Yeah,
because
you were like, what is Trinity? What does that even mean? And I'm like, it's a character in the Matrix. Trinity. She's a badass motherfucker.
Right.
All right. So anyway, desolation, blah, blah, blah. They're all happy over there because you're stupid. Because you rejoiced when the inheritance of Israel became desolate, that's how I'm going to treat you. You'll be fucking desolate, Mount Seir, you and all of Edom. Then they will know that I'm the Lord.
Yeah.
The end.
Oh, okay. You were absolutely right. I did a quick search while we were finishing up there, and it is obviously Catholic, but Protestant. A lot of mainline Protestant denominations,
which is basically every Christian that isn't Catholic is Protestant.
Right. So. And then evangelical churches, including Baptist and Pentecostal. I've heard it called Pentecostal.
Pentecostal.
I'm not sure how you pronounce it exactly.
I always heard it Pentecostal.
Well, I've been listening to Seth Andrews a little bit, and he always says Pentecostal. So I'm like, I don't know if that's just his way of like, jabbing at it or whatnot, but it makes me curious as to the actual pronunciation.
Interesting. So when you said no, but that's what people associate it with, just the Catholics. You meant just you.
So me personally, I take back what I said.
Okay.
Me personally, I didn't know that it was anything but Catholic. So I had no idea, honestly.
I think it's funny, the more that we learn, the more that we unlearn stuff that we thought because we didn't know any better.
Yeah. So, I don't know that does me any, like, logistical good with how I view religion or anything.
No, but it's just one more little thing that you're aware of now.
Sure. Yeah. At least I can understand when I hear it that it might not be just Catholic. So that does help with understanding situations and where I hear that. So
exactly.
That's a plus, I guess.
Yep.
So, yeah, I almost get sick of saying how much God is an asshole and a dick, right?
Because it's repetitive.
Yeah, but like every chapter recently feels like we've been talking about desolation, death, and retribution and jealousy that God has towards people not listening to him and stuff.
Tribalism and...
Yeah. And I'm just... It's really, really childish. Like the whole scenario that is set up with regard to how God treats these people is just a childish reaction to not really... there's nothing that rises to the level of the retribution that he enacts on them.
You know what it makes me realize, though, is given that this whole God thing was written by people, it really gives you insight into how petty the people were.
Yeah.
No, they were like, I'm going to kill you back so hard.
It would be really interesting to read the Bible from the perspective of a historical document as to how people reacted to things back then and leaving the God aspect out of it. I think that would actually make for an interesting...
It would. So the people back then in this area of the world were super petty. They fought over land.
They were very tribal. They were very, and they fought...
And retribution was a big deal, and protecting their family name and they would kill the fuck out of you. And
yeah, if we could take a step back from God and admit that these ideas are not God ideas, right?
Right.
And just say that they're human ideas, it would shine a whole new light, not a new light, but it would shine a different perspective on viewing this whole idea that is Christianity and Judaism and the history of it, and how people were reacting to essentially politics and war back then. And it was with a lot of anger, and it was with a lot of, they wanted revenge. They wanted revenge.
Always.
And that was the biggest thing that I can take from all this, is that they all want to kill each other real bad.
Except for like the people that are in trade, like the cities that built themselves up. They were like, dudes, we just want to live in peace.
Yeah, could you guys just stop this shit? It's fucking boring.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to like dance with my Asherah pole and buy some, I don't know, fucking wheat and sell some goddamn corn.
I feel like it's a very, like good comparison to what we're dealing with today, right? Most of us, as far as, the left wing and the liberals are just like, we're just trying to do our thing, guys. Could you just like step off with the religion shit?
Right.
We don't need all this crap. And we don't need your hatred towards all the different people. Like, what is this? Like, why are you doing this?
Right. Like, I just want to be like, can you just tell me what is so mean in your heart that you literally take a stance against everybody doesn't deserve health care? Like, why though? We can afford for everybody to have it. Why would we not all... Like, that's cool, right? Like, everybody on the planet could have good medical, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
We could actually, like, we earthlings, humankind.
Yeah.
We could achieve that if we all, like, pulled together and did it.
Right.
That would be amazing. Yeah. Who fights against that and, like, says it with a straight face? Yeah, I don't want some people to have medical.
I don't
You're
know.
naive and childish. Like, what is naive and childish about, like, but I don't want them to die of cancer over there or starvation over there.
Well, you say it in the intro, right? You have more empathy than this God is capable of.
Right.
Right? And I think that applies to a lot of people in the world. This God of the Bible has, like, zero empathy. He's not able to put himself in the shoes of his people or any other people on the planet and adapt to his teachings to make that better.
And lo and behold, the people attracted to him also have no empathy.
Right. Well, and that's I think this is very off the cuff, and I'm just like quoting something that I kind of remember from a while back. But there have been, I think, studies with regard to either
I know what you're talking about.
Right wing Christian, like the far right. And maybe Christians, right? And I don't know. I don't want to say this with authority.
No, but I understand what you're talking about.
They operate more on their fear than they do on empathy. And people that are like us, that are
more left-wing, progressive, liberal,
they operate more on empathy than they do on fear.
Right.
Right. So it's different parts of the brains that are activated in these two types of people. And that's what causes a lot of the reactions and the differences that we have in society. I don't know how we fix that. And I think that a lot of it is due to how much you expose yourself to these fearful ideas or let yourself become fearful of ideas that are out there. But some of it may be just who you are.
I always think it's a lack of curiosity too, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's got to be curiosity because, like, I was not raised to have any idea that there were other opinions, much less that they were valid.
Sure.
But I was so curious. Like, I want to learn everything. If I'm going to say I am this thing, then I want to know everything about what is it that I'm saying.
Right.
Like, I was thinking today on my way home that, maybe I want to start watching, like, women's basketball. Like, I honestly, like, it's so in the news right now.
Sure.
But then I was like, okay, so I need, this is the thought in my head as I'm driving home, right? I should look at all the teams and, like, pick a team and then, like, learn everything about, like, each player. And I don't know anything about how they get picked. And then I was like, do I want to do college women's basketball or do I want to do pro women's? And what about if I like learned other, like, I'm like thinking about this because I'm curious. I don't even fucking like sports. What is wrong with me?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm curious. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I want to know things. And if you don't have that curiosity.
Sure.
And I think curiosity and empathy are linked.
I completely agree. I mean, if you have empathy, you want to put yourself in someone else's shoes so that you can understand their life better and then react to it appropriately, right?
Right.
And if you don't have curiosity, then I think you're right. They are linked, right? It's that curiosity is kind of what drives you to that empathy. Like, why is that person doing that? Well, let me think about it from their perspective,
right? And
kind of go from there.
Like, if you have one, you're bound to develop the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and something we always say too is that we never want to stop learning, right?
No, yeah,
that's
totally.
a big thing. Is I think that if you decide that you know it all, you have stopped growing completely. You're not contributing anything to the furtherment of ideas or society at that point, in my opinion.
Right.
Because you have just decided that you are correct, and that is not any way to operate in the world.
No. I think the more that generations have kind of defined themselves, like everybody knows the boomers, right?
Right.
And all their faults.
Sure.
Right? Like, we see what they are, and there are some of us, me among them, who are like, please never let me be like that. Never let me stop. Like, never let me be done taking in new information.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'm gonna be completely fair here, and that's that I see a lot of atheists and liberals that have very closed-minded ideas about what they are as well.
Yes.
Not as many as are on the right, but
correct.
They do exist on the liberal and atheist sides of things.
Yeah.
And
it's more often than not men, because I think misogyny is just so ingrained in our culture that it transcends.
It really does. It really does. Yeah. I mean, that's why, that's why a lot of things. I don't.
That's why a lot of things.
We could go on all night about misogyny, I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole right now.
Yeah, because then we could also talk about how like Hollywood and art are liberal, and like they get kicked around for being like, oh, those liberals, and it's like, yeah, but that's because people who have empathy are more in tune with the arts. And people in the arts are more in tune with empathy. You have to have empathy to be creative.
Now, I do believe, I think, based on my knowledge of a lot of people in my life and just observations in general, right? I think that maybe as you get older, you start thinking you know more than everybody else.
Well, yeah. You have all that experience behind you.
Right. So ideas do start solidifying in your brain more so than they did at an earlier age. I think that one of the things that if you want to keep progressing and keep learning, that's very important to hold on to as you get older, is that just know that you're stupid. Know that you don't know everything.
And be okay with that.
And be okay with it. Like, I don't care who you are. There's something you know nothing about. There's something that you think you know something about, but you don't actually know it.
Right.
Those things apply to every single person on this planet. I don't care how smart you are. You have something that you're failing at.
Well, I think with empathy comes humbleness. Yeah. The ability to be humble. I mean, God, like this, it so gets into like psychology and, philosophy.
Yeah, definitely.
Ugh, we're so far off topic.
We really are. So I think you ready to wrap this up for tonight?
I am.
All right.
Yes.
So that was Ezekiel chapter 35.
Sure as fuck was.
Before we hop out of here, I do want to say that we are still going to be behind going into this weekend. So the episode for our Q&A is going to be coming out probably late on, today, Saturday. And then
you did not let me sing the jingle for it, and I'm very upset.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, our next episode
is
Q&A Saturday.
That is right.
Because there are people who look forward to my jingles.
And then there are. Yeah. And then on Sunday at some point, once we get done getting caught up, we've been way behind on getting a
Patreon.
That's right. Also.
Yes.
And then I'll get the weekly wrap up out, and then we'll be back on schedule. Hopefully, I think every one of our fans must know at this point that weekends are like our catch point. We always fall apart on the weekends.
Yeah.
And we can't keep up with everything we intend to do.
But we always come back.
We do.
Yep. Yes. Fall down, what is it? Fall down 99 times, get up 100.
That's right.
And that's what we do.
Yeah. And I'll also probably be putting out a Substack this weekend too. So for those of you who haven't subscribed to our newsletter, you can hop over to our website. And I did confirm, if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the main page, there is a subscribe button that will take you to our Substack subscription page. Cool. I definitely recommend that. It does take you to a page where it does ask for money, but we don't require that. Everything that we put out on Substack will be free. We definitely appreciate any support anybody's able to give us, but anything on Substack will be free except for, I think you have to pay if you want to chat or something like that, or respond like in comments or something like that. But you can always read everything we put out there. Yeah. So hope to see you guys there.
Discord lives on Tuesdays at 10.
Right. So join us in all the places, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for our Q&A.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep. We have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.